Hi there. Have you been confused by all the information that is available about nutrition? Have you ever thought to yourself, I want to be healthy, but I don't know how in this crazy world? If so, you're in the right place to learn everything you need to know about how you can be your healthiest self by improving your digestion. We'll learn how to make the easiest and healthiest sourdough bread to the truth about yeast and sugar. Join me each week and we'll talk about everything from junk food to your protein needs. We will even dive into some unspoken topics like, what is my bowel movement trying to tell me? Or how can my emotions possibly affect my digestion? For more information on how to be your healthiest self, visit us on healthyselfwithfood.com, where we provide resources including recipes, cooking classes, and coaching appointments. I believe to completely take care of your whole self, that it includes what you put on your body. So I'm very happy to introduce you to our amazing sponsor, Gervine Family Farms, where you can find the best smelling soaps and healing body products on the market. Gervine Family Farms is the home of all natural, real soap and body products that truly heal your skin. Do you regret washing your hands because after you do, your skin is dry and irritated? If so, try the healthiest soap on earth. It is made from coconut oil, essential oil for the smell, and herbs or spices for the soap color. All the ingredients are so healthy for your skin that you could eat them, but please don't eat the soap. It doesn't taste good. There are no fillers, synthetic dyes, fragrances, or low-quality oils. Real soap doesn't strip your skin of all your body's natural oils, thus requiring you to use lotion so that your skin doesn't completely dry out. Save money on lotion by using real soap, and you will never be able to go back to your fake beauty bars that you call soap. Find us at GervineFamilyFarms.com. That is GURVINE FamilyFarms.com. My name is Kaisa. I've always been intrigued about being my healthiest self, even from a very young age. I have been continually studying and testing out all sorts of health options throughout my life. I'm thrilled to be a certified health, life, spiritual, and soul purpose coach, and for the last 10 years, I have enjoyed working as a nutritional counselor in a naturopathic doctor's office. As a nutritional counselor, I guide patients through protocols for their particular health ailment prescribed by their doctor. I also have almost 30 years of experience in making healing food for my 6 children, husband, and friends. This doesn't mean that my food always turned out or tasted good, but they sure were good sports as I learned many tricks and tips that I now can share with you in your food journey. I recently discovered Ayurveda, and I am currently studying to become a digestive specialist. Ayurveda is the knowledge of life. The basic principle of Ayurveda is to prevent and treat illness by maintaining balance in the body. Let's dive into today's topic. Today we're going to talk about herbal teas and their health benefits. So often when I'm talking with clients and I introduce the idea of herbal teas, there can be many different responses. But I've noticed that a lot of people have not been exposed to having herbal tea be a part of their tradition from their family or passed down or just through experiencing it. And so I'd like to reintroduce this as something that is really amazing for everyone's bodies because herbs have so many nutrients that they offer. They have vitamins, they have minerals, and they have things that we don't get from other foods in such specific quantities. And so that's what makes herbs so powerful in helping with certain ailments and treating sicknesses, or mostly how I like to use them is to just keep the body in balance. So by having a variety of herbal teas on hand that you enjoy, you can rotate through these daily, weekly, to where your body's getting exposed to different herbs that work for you in at different times. And then there's always the cases of, If you have a headache or if you have an upset stomach or you have a certain ailment that an herb can help, then you can go to a specific herb to help with that ailment. So that's what we're going to go through is talking about what each of the herbs offer us. It's going to be a very, very brief description because there's so many different herbs. And so I want to make sure that we touch on each one of them. But you can always do further research and really learn more about the specifics that each one of these herbs can do for you. So I'm going to start by just listing out some different herbal teas that you may or may not have heard of, and tell you a little bit more about them. So the first one is chamomile tea. And chamomile is an all time favorite and used mostly for its calming effect. Chamomile may help reduce inflammation, treat stomach pain, aid sleep, and promote calmness and muscle relaxation. We've all probably tasted chamomile tea. It's pretty much the the standard tea that's stocked in like hotels or anywhere that people that offer, herbal tea to big groups. Just because it's a very flowery and tasty herbal tea. Chamomile is something that you can grow and dry and use it as your own concoction as well. The next one is peppermint tea, and peppermint is used for its refreshing and calming properties. It has a lightly sweet and refreshing flavor that may help with bad breath. The most important benefits include stress relief, aiding digestion, and soothing stomach, boosting the immune system, and relieving the symptoms of common cold. So, peppermint tea is a great one to have on hand because it has so many different uses. And again, this is one of those that most people have probably tasted because we all know what peppermint tastes like, in other foods like, peppermint ice cream or peppermint mints, that type of thing. The tea obviously doesn't taste exactly like that, but when you sweeten it, it's a very refreshing tea. The next tea is rose hip tea. So, rose hips are a great source of vitamin C and antioxidants. Studies suggest that the antioxidant activity may be higher than those of popular berries such as blueberries or black currants. They may help with achieving weight loss goals and they protect the brain and skin from aging. So, rose hips are a part of the rose plant, and it's like a berry that I don't know if it grows like before the rose or after, but I've seen them on my particular rose bushes that I have. And I know that those are the rose hips because I've bought them where they're dried and ready to either be ground up because I happen to use them in soap that I make. It makes a beautiful purple color in the soap I make, but that could be another day's conversation. But I know that they're good for the skin, and that's why I chose to put them in my soap because of their vitamin C levels and antioxidants, which help us on our skin, relieving oxidative stress, which is what gives us wrinkles and ages us. But so rosehip tea is a great source of vitamin C. The next one is rooibos tea, and this tea is grown exclusively in South Africa. It has a distinctive earthy and sweet flavor. This tea is used not only for its flavor but for its potent antioxidant activity and many potential benefits from reducing cholesterol and high blood pressure to treating colic in infants and increasing airflow in the lungs. And I enjoy a rooibos blend that sometimes they'll call chai, which just means that they add like cinnamon, cardamom, other kind of spices that are also considered herbs because they have such nutritional value to it to make a chai blend with the rooibos, and it's really tasty. The next herbal tea on the list is ginger. Ginger tea is amazing. The main use of ginger tea is to help with upset stomach and nausea and for aiding a spicy touch to tea blends. So in other words, often they'll add ginger in many of the tea blends, especially like in a chai tea. But ginger has more potential benefits from protecting the brain and heart, lowering blood sugar, and it has anti-cancer properties. So, ginger tea is a great one to have on hand for digestion. And we'll talk a lot more about that when we do the digestive podcast, but some great blends that they have with ginger. They'll have it just straight, and that's great. And you can sweeten it, and it will help with upset stomach and all the stuff it's talking about. But often they'll blend ginger with turmeric, which is really good for anti-inflammatory, and often with black pepper as well. And so there's some different combinations, and these are just ones that they'll just have at the grocery store. This isn't anything special that you have to order online, but obviously you can find all the teas, any sort of tea that you want online. So if one of these jumps out at you that seems like the right ingredient that you want to focus on for you and your needs, you can definitely look online and find many different options there. The next type of herbal tea is cinnamon. And studies show that cinnamon has antioxidant and anti inflammatory properties and may help with lowering blood pressure and protecting the heart. So each of these things that we're listing out are single ingredients, and often herbal teas are a blend just because that makes them, taste really fun. So cinnamon's something where if you don't have herbal tea, but those particular um, properties of it sound enticing or something you want to do, you can always put it's not tea, but sorry, cinnamon, and make your own tea. So whether you have like a little cloth tea bag or a tea ball, or they even have disposable, like almost like the paper tea bags that you can then put like a half a teaspoon of cinnamon in it and steep it, and you can make a tea that way. Each herb and food in our world has certain properties to it. And as you probably know, cinnamon has hot qualities. And so if you use too much of it, it can be very stimulating that way, and not spicy like spicy hot, but almost like hot in temperature. It's kind of hard to explain, but I think if you've put too much cinnamon on your oatmeal or done something like that before, you can taste the heat from the cinnamon itself. The next herb is lemongrass. And lemongrass, a delicious herb used both as a spice and tea, may help relieve the pain and anxiety, lower blood pressure, and act as an antioxidant and help with weight management. Studies showed it also has an antibacterial and anti inflammatory property. And I've noticed that lemongrass is an herb that is added to a lot of blends. So you see that a lot on there. And I think it's just because it has so many great properties to it that it makes a good addition to any herbal tea blend. The next herb is tulsi, or it's often called holy basil. They're the same thing, and they are adaptogenic herb used for its ability to reduce stress naturally and benefit the overall health. Adaptogenic herbs are often used for dealing with lifestyle related diseases, especially different types of stress. Tulsi has anti inflammatory, antioxidant, anti diabetic, anti cancer, antimicrobial, and reproductive properties. So, Tulsi, there is a brand I just happen to know online that is from India, where a lot of really amazing herbs come from. And so, a lot of my Ayurvedic studies that I'm doing involves herbs, specifically Indian herbs from India. But they have a herbal tea blend that their base is Tulsi because they just really, really love everything that it has to offer. And so that's the base of their brand that offers a lot of different blends with Tulsi as the base. So the name of that particular company is Organic India. Um, so just as an option. The next herb is rosemary tea, and if you love using rosemary for cooking, you will love a cup of rosemary tea too. Rosemary may provide several benefits from helping with Alzheimer's disease to treating anxiety. The next one is olive leaf tea, and this tea is made from dried olive leaves. It has a lightly sweet and refreshing taste. It may have the potential use in preventing cancer, lowering cholesterol and blood sugar, and helping with weight loss. Then there's barley tea. Barley tea is one of the most popular herbal teas in Eastern Asia, and this delicious tea is commonly used for aiding digestion and promoting weight loss. Licorice tea. Licorice root is one of the naturally sweetest teas in the world. Traditionally, it has been used for treating stomach pain and cough. And I noticed that licorice is in a few of the blends that we like to get. One that I think they call like throat coat, and then there's a different one for like colds and flu and whatnot. So it is really good for um, helping with throat things like cough, like it listed. The next one is eucalyptus. And traditionally, eucalyptus has been used for its antiseptic and antibacterial properties and for different breathing and lung related problems, from treating the common cold and flu to sore throat and pneumonia. There's even some very interesting herbs that are not going to be ones that you've probably heard of, because I know I hadn't, but it just proves that there's so many things out there. The 14th one is Iceland moss tea. Iceland moss tea is one of the potentially most beneficial herbs for treating a sore throat and dry cough and may provide an instant relief. Another interesting use is treating the loss of appetite. The next herb is ginkgo tea. And traditionally, ginkgo is used for treating brain related problems, mostly caused by aging. Interestingly, it's one of the oldest trees in the world. Although there is not enough scientific research to confirm the benefits, ginkgo is still one of the most popular used herbal remedies for memory problems. Then there's ashwagandha tea. And similar to Tulsi, ashwagandha is an adaptogenic herb too. The most common use is for treating stress and anxiety and sleeping problems. Studies have shown it may be helpful to protect the brain and heart, improve memory, and even improve muscle strength. And I love ashwagandha. I love having that on hand because anytime you have anything that's going on, it could be um, anything in the mind, like headache or, like it said, sleeping, stress, anxiety. Take it, and it really does help. The next one is sage tea, and sage has been traditionally used in many countries for relieving pain and fighting infections. Research shows that it may be beneficial for depression, dementia, obesity, diabetes, lupus, heart disease, and cancer. And that's crazy that there's so many uses right there that it can be good for. And it's sage, which is something we've all, probably eaten before in a certain food or smelled. Like I know there's sage bushes. Um, so it's so neat that there's so many great uses for such a common thing. The next herb is raspberry leaf tea. And so, raspberry leaf is mostly used by pregnant women to shorten the labor. Although drinking this tea is considered safe in most cases, more research is needed to see if it can actually help and how safe it is. So, in other words, anyone that's ever worked with a midwife or anything like that during their pregnancy, sometimes they will recommend that you drink raspberry leaf tea towards the end of your pregnancy, and it will help you be ready for labor. So I'm not 100% sure that it will shorten labor, but it's definitely something that seems to like really have the woman be ready for labor. If And so I think that's kind of what they're talking about with more research is needed, because I don't know that they've actually researched that specifically. But you don't have to be pregnant to use raspberry tea leaf. It has other um, benefits to it as well. That was just like one of the main things. The next one is valerian root tea, and this is one of the most common remedies for treating insomnia. So anytime people talk about sleep or needing something natural for it, you'll hear valerian. And the root is used for making pills and for making tea. It's considered one of the strongest herbs for treating sleep disorders. Then the next one is anise seed. And the, I always think of licorice because they're kind of similar, but anyways, it's its own thing. But anise seed has traditionally been used for problems related to breathing and digestion. And because of the sweet flavor, it's often used instead of licorice for sweetening other food products and sweets. And next is another really great one to have in your pantry if you're just looking for some basic teas to have on hand, elderberry. And I'm sure you've heard about that, but elderberry flower tea has antibacterial and antiviral properties. The flavonoids in elderberry flowers and berries may help in treating influenza, bronchitis, and pain relief. So often people will use this, as they're like getting the flu or getting sick or getting a cold. They know elderberry will help with that. Then there's linden flower tea, and linden flower is often used for treating the common cold, fever, cough, and anxiety. This tea has a thick texture because of the high mucilage content that may help soothe the throat. So anytime someone has a really sore throat and you got that scratchy or itchiness to it, um, having something that coats it, and that's why like one of those teas I mentioned was called throat coat. It will have this mucilage content to it. So there's certain flowers or berries or herbs that have that, and so that really helps soothe the throat. The next one is turmeric tea. And turmeric is often used as a spice and as an ingredient in tea blends and for making turmeric milk tea, which is really yummy. Studies show it may be beneficial for protecting the heart after some heart surgeries and reducing skin irritation and pain. And so there's a lot of um, information out there about curcumin, which is a part of turmeric. And so you've probably seen supplements for that. And so turmeric is good for, inflammation. It's just one of those things that you can't get enough of. And so it's a great way to take it is in a tea form. The next herb is moringa tea. And moringa is a superfood and it may offer many benefits, but studies suggest it may be especially helpful with heart disease, diabetes, cancer, and fatty liver. Then there's lavender. Lavender tea is mostly common used for relaxation, relieving anxiety, calming, and lifting your mood. It blends well with other calming herbs such as chamomile. There's pine needle tea. Pine needle is one of the most unique herbal teas. If you like the scent of a fresh summer pine forest, this tea will, without any doubt, bring a smile to your face. Pine needle tea may offer similar benefits and act as an antidepressant and lift the mood. Echinacea. We've all heard of echinacea. Well, there's echinacea tea, and the most common use of echinacea is for treating symptoms of common cold and treating depression. And they tell you that echinacea can boost your immunity, and so it's great to take it on the onset of any sort of symptoms. But that doesn't mean with any of these that you have to take them when you're sick. I think I already mentioned that in the beginning, but I just want to reiterate that herbal teas are great and fine to take any day, anytime, but they do have some specific uses that you could use like medicine. The next one is honeybush tea. And honeybush, another delicious tea from Africa continent, has a lot in common with the rooibos tea. It's used for treating coughs and for calming effects. Then there's the hibiscus flower tea, and it's zesty and beautiful and full of color. I'm sure you've heard or probably even tasted hibiscus. It's one of the most popular flower teas around the world. And research showed it may help with lowering blood pressure and cholesterol. The next tea, I don't even know how to say this one, osmanthus. And it's a beautiful, small yellow flower of the osmanthus tree, and it may boost the immune system and help fight allergies. Tea has a very delicate peach flavor. So, although I'm not 100% sure I said it right, it's spelled Osmanthus, and it sounds delicious that it has a very delicate peach flavor. Then there's chrysanthemum. Oh, that's always been such a hard word to say. It's so long and it's the flower, and I know you've heard of it, but chrysanthemum tea is one of the most popular flower teas in China. Studies show it has a strong antioxidant activity and may help fight free radicals. It's used for its cooling effect, especially during warm seasons, for potential sedative effect and lowering blood pressure. The next one is rose tea. And this one is the queen among flower teas. Rose has a lot of benefits and it's rich in antioxidants and may help reduce the oxidative stress benefiting your overall health. Here's another flower, jasmine tea. The health benefits of jasmine tea include treating anxiety, fever, sunburn, and stomach ulcers. However, jasmine has mostly been used in traditional medicine, and more research is needed to confirm the benefits. And this just means that there hasn't been a lot of research on it, that there's probably even more things we don't know about that it could be good for. Yarrow tea is mostly used in Europe and North America to treat wounds, soothe the upset stomach, and to relieve menstrual cramps and pain. Stinging nettles. This is such a great one for allergies, but it helps reduce the risk of heart disease, cancer, and diabetes, and has a positive effect on blood pressure and even psychotic disorders. So the research that I've done in this list that I have doesn't even list stinging nettle as an allergy type herb, but I have know from a fact from using it that it can help with this. If you have congestion or you're just noticing seasonal type allergies, stinging nettle is very helpful with that. And so, like speaking of a weed growing where I'm at on our property, stinging nettles grows. Um, I when they first started coming up, because they're very pokey and not something you want to step on in your grass or anything. We pulled them out, but I saved them and I did dry them, and we've used them in a tea. And also, dandelion tea is also one that grows, like most people will say, like a weed. It has a huge root, which makes it so difficult for pulling out. But the root is super nutritious because it's so big and goes deep. It's pulling out lots of nutrients. But the flowers can be used. And so we'll have some recipes on the website, Healthy Self with Food, that will show you a few examples of some teas you could make if those kinds of things are growing in your yard or around in your area, just because it makes it even cheaper if it's something you just want to go pull out of the ground and use. But dandelion tea is one that you can buy very easily. There's so many blends that uses dandelion because it's so beneficial. And studies show that dandelion root may help destroy cells of some cancers and have a potential of becoming a part of alternative treatments. And so that's just saying, like, they're just recognizing that there's so much to them, but they have them in a lot of tea blends, and especially like dark roasts. Often, if people are looking for something to replace coffee or to be similar to that, there's some dandelion combinations that are really, really yummy. The next herb is cranberry. The most common use of cranberry tea is treating some bacterial infections, and mostly in urinary tract infections in both infants, children, and adults. So you've probably heard of this before, that even drinking cranberry juice, will do that. But you can have it as a tea, and then you're not necessarily consuming so much juice, which can be kind of overwhelming to someone's system with the amount of fruit sugar. So, not necessarily added sugars, but cranberry is a very tart, bitter berry. So often it may need to be sweetened just to drink. But as a tea, you can get the same benefits without having to drink so much juice. Then there's St. John's wort, which you've probably heard of, and it's the most used herbal remedy for treating depression, both mild and moderate. And studies show that in some cases it may be as effective as standard medicine, but ineffective in others. And when you see things like this, that's just because everybody's different, their body type and how their body either accept things or things that actually balance or work for them. And so it's not saying that St. John's wort doesn't work, but that in some people it's not the right thing to treat them for whatever they're trying to use it for. But in some people it's very effective. The next herb is yerba mate. And so I remember hearing about this, just growing up or whatever, and I always thought that it was just a brand, but it's actually an herb, and it's a national drink in many South America countries. Yerba mate is one of the rare herbal teas containing caffeine. So most herbal teas, not most, all are just herbal and therefore they don't have caffeine in them. But it's saying that yerba mate's one of them that does contain caffeine. It contains antioxidants and may be beneficial for diabetes and weight loss, aid in digestion, and even help with depression. So it has a lot of great uses. We only mention the caffeine part because sometimes people want to be careful of that. They want to stay away from it. Or sometimes people are looking for that. Maybe they're looking for something that will give them either a boost of energy or whatever it is that caffeine does for you. And it's a very natural way of getting it. It's not very much in it, but it does have some. The next herb is guava tea. And in traditional medicine, guava leaf tea has been used for treating diabetes and heart disease and parasite infections. Then there's the go-to kind of it's pronounced cola, but with a K, almost like koala. But anyways, go-to cola tea, but it's with a K. Go-to cola or centella is another adaptogenic herb and is believed it may have a good impact on the brain, including treating anxiety, depression, or enhancing memory. The next herb is marshmallow root, and it's often used for treating dry cough and inflammation in throat and stomach. Thyme. Thyme is one of the signature herbs of Mediterranean cuisine. As tea, it may help with problems related to respiratory, nervous, and cardiovascular systems. The next herb is calendula or calendula, just depends on the person and how they say it. But because of its calming, soothing, and healing properties, calendula tea, it externally is used for treating inflammation and for gargling, and internally for soothing the stomach. And I'm able to grow calendula flower bushes where I am, and they're so beautiful. And then I can dry them and use them also either in my soaps, but mostly knowing that I could use it as a tea is really great because it has so many really healing properties. I've also infused it in olive oil and used it in salves that, because of the healing properties from the flower, are infused into the oil and then it's in the salve. And so that's a really great thing that it has to offer that you can't get from, all flowers. So it's one of those super flowers. Kuding tea, one of the most bitter teas in the world. And kuding may be one of the best teas for skin. Research showed polyphenols in kuding tea may help protect skin from damage caused by UVB rays. The second most important benefit is potential help with losing weight. Um, Another one that I cannot pronounce. Let's see if I can try. Giaogulian tea. It's cool. It's spelled Jiaogulan. And it's one of the newer herbal teas in the world of home remedies. It has already shown many potential benefits. Studies show that this tea may have great potential for treating many cancers. It's often described as a good tea for overall health. I'm curious now what nationality it is because that's spelled so cool. The next one is passion flower tea. The most common use of passion flower tea is as a sedative and a sleeping aid. Kava tea. So kava is another sleepy time and calming tea. Is used for treating insomnia, anxiety, and promoting overall relaxation. Although studies show it may be beneficial for treating those problems, it may also be toxic for the liver, especially when combined with alcohol. So you've probably seen there's been some advertisements that I've noticed on kava, and whether it's combined with other things or just straight by itself, it really does have some great benefits. And I know a lot of people have talked about um, using it like instead of coffee or something like that. So like often people are looking for replacements for that just because coffee doesn't really work for everyone. But the thing about it is that it is very toxic when it is combined with alcohol. So it's just one of those things that you just have to be really careful of because the herb itself is so powerful that combining it with alcohol makes it extra potent. Um, then there's Lapacho bark tea, and it has a unique flavor and appearance. And the dry bark of this tree is traditionally used for reducing inflammation, treating cancers, and boosting the immune system. And the last one on our list of 50 amazing herbs that you can make into tea is lemon balm. And sometimes it's called Melissa, or lemon balm is the herb that belongs to the mint family and has a milder, more lemony flavor. Benefits are similar to those of mint teas. It's used for stomach problems, calming the body and the mind as a diuretic. Now, I'm also able to grow this one where I'm at. And something that I love about lemon balm, even though it's part of the mint family, is that it doesn't spread and go everywhere in your garden or yard as mint can do. And so it's nice because it stays in a bush and it is lemony, minty. And so it makes a great tea. Just you can go out and just pick the leaves fresh and throw them in a pot of water and make the tea that way and get all the benefits from it. So hopefully you got some good information out of the individual herbs that we just talked about. There's still many more. That's just 50 of the most popular ones, if you will. But we're going to talk about a few more things now. So the first thing is there are blends, and an immune stimulating blend is a blend that contains any of the following tonic herbs. Now, remember, we talked a little bit about adaptogens, the types of herbs that strengthen and enhance the immune system, the nervous system, or the glandular system, while they help the body cope with stress. So, adaptogens are amazing. And there's a few different kinds. There's ginseng, which you've probably heard of, astragalus, echinacea, ashwagandha, like we mentioned before. And then there's like reishi mushrooms and licorice. Those are all considered immune stimulating and adaptogens. And so there's a few different brands like the Republic of Tea. They have a ginseng peppermint or an organic Temple of Health. That's just the name of the tea that has blends. Traditional medicines has an echinacea plus and a reishi defense and a double ginseng. And celestial seasonings has the Emperor's Choice and an echinacea herb or a ginseng plus. And Yogi Tea, another brand, has a ginseng tea as well as an echinacea special formula. So it just gives you some examples and ideas. You can buy herbal tea blends at any grocery store. And then, of course, all the way up to like health food stores and specialty stores and online. But they are very easy to come by. And so it's just fun to go look at the packages, look at the labels, see what kinds of things they include, see what you're looking for, and then just try some new things. But I guarantee you, if you add the practice of herbal tea into your life, whether it's in the morning or the evening, well, and it could be anytime during the day, cold or hot, it will bring your body many good benefits. Now, another category is digestive teas. And often, because so many of us have problems with our digestion, it's great to know what you can reach for if you're just not quite processing your food right and you're uncomfortable. And so many herbs have digestion stimulating properties, and they can help relieve gas and heartburn, and they can stimulate the flow of your gastric juices. They can relax spasms and cramps and dispel nausea or queasiness. So you can look for digestive blends that contain any of the following: ginger, aniseed, thyme, chamomile, hyssop, peppermint, spearmint, lemon balm, fennel, coriander, chicory, catnip, and cardamom. And again, some examples of some brands is the Republic of Tea brand has an orange ginger mint or an organic mint fields. And then the traditional medicinals brand has a ginger aid and an eater's digest. Celestial Seasonings brand has a grandma's tummy mint and a ginger ease. And then Tazo, I'm not sure if that's how you say the brand, but it's Tazo, has a blend that's called Refresh. And I've seen some other digestive teas at even other places. This is, again, research that I've done, try to pull up some lists to have some information to give you. I know based on myself, I use herbal teas all the time. I have a huge shelf of them, lots of different varieties, always trying something new. And inevitably, when someone in the family isn't feeling well, it's so easy to do a Google search and just look up, like if someone says I have a headache, I can look up something for a headache and see which herb is the best. And then I know I have, peppermint or chamomile or something on hand that helps with the headache or, helps with tummy aches or sore throats or whatever it is. And so it's great to have a good variety on hand. The next category is sedative teas, and the number one selling herbal tea in the US is Celestial Seasonings Sleepy Time Tea. So that tells us that a lot of people in the world need some help going to sleep or being relaxed. And so, after a tough day filled with stress and usually caffeine, Americans have a tough time settling down enough to fall asleep. And so, sedative teas are mild in action due to their dose size. It's a small dose, and the classic sedative herbs include chamomile, hops, linden flowers, lavender, passion flower, skullcap, valerian, tilia buds, and white zapote. And so, again, some examples of some brands: the Republic of Tea has a chamomile lemon, Traditional Medicinals has a nighty night, Celestial Seasonings has one called Sleepy Time, and Yogi Tea brand has a bedtime tea. I've even found them at, like, even Walmart, and they'll have like kind of an off, their own brand that is just called a sleepy tea. So you can look for those for digestives or for sleepy. And I think there's even one for like cleanse as well. Another category is stimulating spice teas. So, spicy teas will warm you internally and stimulate your digestion and elimination. Spice teas require a longer brewing time and are best simmered for 10 minutes to bring out their spicy flavor. So, some examples of that is the Republic of Tea brand has a rainforest tea or a cardamom cinnamon. Celestial Seasonings has a Bengal spice. Yogi Tea, their original loose pack or tea bags with flavors such as Tahitian vanilla and hazelnut cream. And Tezo their blend is just called Spice. And Satwa Chai, which is a brand, has an herbal chai spicy peppermint concentrate, and a Shati Herbal. Again, these are just examples, but you can find all sorts of cool things on the shelves in any of the grocery stores that you look in or looking online. Then another category is fruit teas, and these teas can contribute significant vitamin C to your diet, and they're delicious, iced. So in other words, like cold. And because they have strong citrus accent, they're refreshing and thirst quenching. And I find with clients that have tried herbal teas and just haven't had a good experience, so they're not looking for that herbal taste, that sometimes the fruit teas will work. They have some great ones that are like berry blends, and apple or different kinds of fruit. And I think often they do have some citrus in there. You can always look at the ingredients. So if there's something you're trying to avoid, maybe something you're sensitive to or allergic to, or maybe you just don't enjoy, you can always look on the label and make sure that it doesn't have that in there. But it's just neat to know that there are those options as well. And so the Republic of Tea brand has an Alpine Flowers tea, a lemon wintergreen, a Kids Cuppa, an organic flowering herbal tea. And Celestial Seasonings has any of the Zinger with a Z, Zinger brand blends are with fruits, and Tezo also has a passion and a wild sweet orange. I have a little more information to share about Rooibos tea. Um, it's a caffeine-free tea, and it's unique in the herbal tea world. Uh, Rooibos, or Boss, they have how to pronounce it here, means red bush in Afrikaans, and it's produced only at the tip of South Africa in Cape Town. And it is the only herbal tea that is fermented like black tea, producing a deep red color and body similar to black tea, but without black tea's astringency. And it's also caffeine free. Rooibos contains polyphenols, just like green tea, giving it similar antioxidant properties. And tests show that rooibos to have slightly less antioxidant activity than green tea, but more than black or oolong tea. So it's just kind of fun that you can get all that from it without having to drink black tea if that is something you wanted to avoid, just because it's more astringent. Rooibos also contains vitamin C, minerals, quercetin, lutein, rutin, and numerous other flavonoids that contribute to its antispasmodic, hypoallergenic, and antioxidant properties. Rooibos is gentle, soothing, and delicious. And it's a good alternative to caffeine containing green tea. Again, green tea is amazing if it's something that you can handle and that works for your body. But if it doesn't, this is a great alternative to that. And you can look for rooibos at your local herb shop or try the fallen herb teas that have rooibos in their base. Again, the Republic of Tea has a rainforest tea blend and a desert sage blend. And another tea called Select Tea has a ruby burst. I've bought some other rooibos blends just at the store and even online. So they are out there. Okay, the last tea we're going to cover is green tea. I feel like it just falls into the same category. There's so much information about how amazing green tea can be, and because it's loaded with antioxidants and nutrients that have a multitude of health benefits, including cancer and cardiovascular disease prevention. It can improve your brain function, it can lower your cholesterol, and green tea contains the polyphenols which include flavonoids, and phenyl. So many of these words are so hard to say. Phenolic acid. Anyways, good things, right? So, green tea energizes your mind, but without the jitters of coffee. As you sip a cup of green tea, you feel clean and clear. Your mind doesn't race as it does with coffee. Instead, you feel present and aware. Green tea is the very expression of the mental element of Chinese medicine, pure, mathematical, austere. So green tea has been used for weight loss. It's also good for the heart. The green tea helps you take care of your heart. It reduces blood clots through its bitter, blood thinning taste, as well as reducing cholesterol, lipids, and triglycerides. It has a diuretic action and it lowers blood pressure. And studies show that green tea may actually lower the risk of arteriosclerosis, which is the hardening of blood vessels, through antioxidant action. It brightens your mind. Green tea has a lower amount of caffeine than coffee, but still gives you a nice pick me up instead of feeling jittery and agitated. Green tea gives a softer lift that clears and focuses your mind in the midst of a long day. It is often used in China to soften the pain of migraine headaches. And there's many other additional health benefits that include the healing of ulcers and curing bad breath and encouraging healthy digestion. And I think the main thing is that it's really important for people to either do the research, like if your goal is to not have any sort of caffeine, then don't drink the green tea. And like the list that we went through, you can see that there's so many herbal benefits and an herb that you can find that is herbal and therefore caffeine free that gives you some of the similar benefits. So there's always a way. You don't ever have to be stuck in a box of, oh my gosh, and not all tea is created the same. So often, people will be like, oh yeah, well, I don't want to drink tea because they're thinking of like black tea. And although black tea has some benefits, it doesn't mean that you have to drink it because it does have things that don't work for many people for many reasons. So, thanks again for joining me to talk more about herbal teas. I feel like I talked really fast because I had so much information, and I always try to make each podcast not too long so that it's something that you can listen to and not get bored out of your mind hearing me talk. But I feel really passionate about herbal teas, herbs themselves. So it could be that maybe you take the herbs, in a not a pill, but in a capsule type form if you're not into herbal teas. But just know that herbs have such amazing benefits for our bodies. They offer us things that have always been a part of our earth and have been here for us, but we've lost with tradition and time and you know times have changed. I don't want to go into, I'm not blaming anyone for it happening, but knowing that they're still around and that we still have access to them, it really makes a lot of sense for us to look at that and to realize that, before there was any sort of pharmaceutical medicines, that the only medicine that was available to humans was herbs. And so, you've heard probably traditions of things like medicine doctors or, and you know that they were using herbs, whether it was teas or maybe at the time they were even like some of the Indian cultures that they smoked it or they use poultices, or I mean, there's all different ways that herbs can be used. But the easiest way is an herbal tea, and getting in the habit of drinking it cold or warm once or twice, or it could be more a day, but throughout your day, but at least once, and look at it as a medicine. Look at it that you're boosting yourself in some way, not in an addictive way, rotating through different herbal teas and options that you have, trying things, seeing how they work for you. Um, Take note, have a food journal and write down how you're feeling before, during, and after consuming different herbs. And by doing this, you will be able to gauge for your own body and for your own needs. So, although we went through the things that these herbs can help with, there is still going to be a perfect food for you, or food that is more balancing for you than it will be for someone else. We're not all created the same as far as how we break down and process food. And herbs, which are a plant, are food. And so, even though they have benefits for each one of us, the benefits may be different, because if take an herb or drink herbal tea or something like that, and you get a gassy, bubbly stomach, that herb is not breaking down properly for you. Um, and that's something that we look at when we're eating food. And so I'm just treating this herb as a food as well. So we didn't talk about sweeteners a lot, but rather than adding any sort of sugar to your tea, definitely sweeten it with honey, agave, maple syrup, stevia drops, or stevia powder. Um, if there may be others that I'm missing too, but those ones seem to work the best for dissolving in an herbal tea form. And this way, you can sweeten them and they can taste good, but you're not adding more sugar to your diet, even though you are adding a sweetener. And often you don't need very much. And there are some herbs that taste just fine without being sweetened. So look at all your different options, and I challenge you to try this if it's not something you've tried before, and really see if it helps you feel better in some form or fashion. I know there are herbs out there that can help with so many different things. So I was hoping that maybe you could learn from this list things that they help with, and find one that maybe you want to try first, and go from there and be on a journey of trying new things that can help your body. Good luck, and thanks again.
To be your healthiest self, join me each week as we talk about a new topic that can help you, your family, and your loved ones in your life to be your healthiest self.